Right, welcome to another advice video, and in this video we're going to be looking at where to start in Warhammer 40,000. And really I put this video together for those that are new to the hobby, or those that are thinking about starting up collecting an army for Warhammer 40,000. Quite a lot of comments and contacts from people on the channel who like the game, they watch the battle reports, would like to get involved, but quite a few asking, well, where do I start? So this really is for those who are new to the hobby, and also those who have got armies already perhaps and are thinking about starting something else, a new army, or starting from scratch perhaps. So this information here hopefully will help you where to start and not make some of the mistakes that others have made or I've made in the past, as you'll find out what I mean as we go along. So there's two aspects to the hobby, and both of which I really enjoy. First of all is actually sort of the model making and painting side of it. That's why I enjoy playing Warhammer 40,000, and that's because of the quality of the figures. And I think some of the best sculpted figures in the world. Also the hobby is sort of really self-contained. All the paints are produced by Games Workshop, the sprays, all of the kits, the rules, the templates. It's once you get into it, everything's there that you need. With other games sets, you have to try and source the figures and the rules and different things from different places. But the advantage with Games Workshop is the whole thing's self-contained, which is really good. So there's the model making, the painting side. I really enjoy that, but I try and keep a balance with it. And that's where I try not to spend too long painting armies. I like to paint stuff nicely, but not spend so long that I never get armies finished and never actually get around to playing games. So if you're going to get involved in the hobby, then that's one side of it that is worth making an effort and making it enjoyable, enjoying that part of the hobby, the actual painting and model making side. Then also there's the actual gaming side of it. That's where you get an army done and then you're actually able to use it in games, and that's really enjoyable as well. But so how do you get to that stage of a finished army? What's the best approach if you're new to the hobby? So the first thing I would advise that you do, as far as collecting is concerned, is just have a general look at the hobby. Look at all the different armies and just step back for a little while and think about what army you'd like to collect. And the best advice that I can give is just to choose an army that you like. One you like the look of, the style of the sculpting. Just that's what I've done pretty much for every army that I've collected. I've looked at it and then thought, well, I'd really like to collect those and make my own force and paint it in my own style. And then really it started from there. I was into 40k at I got into Warhammer 40,000 about the age of 14. A friend of mine brought the old rulebook into school, and I was looking through all the pictures, and it was sort of the artwork and stuff that really inspired me. It looked really good fun. Played a few games, and then from there just chose an army I like, and it was the old Blood Angels I started out with. Painted a few other bits, and then sort of when I left secondary school, didn't really do much Warhammer 40,000 stuff, but sort of at age 21 onwards, we're looking for a White Dwarf magazine and then saw the Tau, and they weren't around when I was originally collecting Warhammer 40,000, but saw some of the sculpting for the Tau and the paint job and I thought, wow, they're amazing. And I thought, well, I'm interested in collecting Warhammer 40,000 again. So the first army that I did when I got back into the hobby was the Tau, just purely because I like the look of them and also the style of play. I like the idea of an army that's really good at shooting at sort of long range, and all these battle suits and tanks had great appeal. So it was Tau that I started off with, and later on fancied the change. So really liked the idea of the Eldar and got into them, and then different races as well. But that's the first point, is just choose an army that you like, and I think you'll enjoy collecting them as you go along, because it's, if you're going to build an army up, it's quite a bit of effort, and if it's an army that you like, then that'll help keep you going until your army's done. So you've got to that stage where you've chosen an army that you like, you've thought about it for a while and you think, yeah, I really like those, I'm going to go for it. And I think the mistake that some people make is they go out there and they buy a whole load of stuff and then they get swamped. And I think that can be a mistake. So the best advice next that I can give is just to just get a hold of the basics. So I would say get the rulebook and then choose the appropriate codecs. So you're sort of getting familiar with the rules, and then get a hold of the codecs and have a look through that. At the same time, when you're trying to build an army, you're going to want to know what the actual rules are, as you're going to try to build a force, blindly, not knowing what units can do. Then, if you're not sure what army to collect, then I would say just look around for inspiration. Ask around, see what other people are collecting. You can go on my channel, check out the battle reports, see the different armies and the different styles of play. And then you can just be inspired like I was. I saw the tower and then was inspired by them and then started collecting them from there. So if you're not sure at the moment, then just keep looking around and inspiration will come. Then at that point, you're sort of interested in an army and you'd like to go down that path. If you're entirely new to the hobby, then I would say try and find somewhere where you can go to play or to see games played. I mean, you've got the Games Workshop stores you can go to, or there can be local hobby clubs that are near you. The club SSWG that been going to for years. I went into a local hobby shop, and I asked in there if there was anywhere I could play games, that have Warhammer and wargames on, and they said there was a local place just down the road. Made contact there, and turned out to be a really, really good club. Now that wasn't really at the time, wasn't really advertised on the internet, sort of hidden away. So you can check out your local Games Workshop store or a hobby store and ask if there's anywhere local that you can play, just to get you familiar with the rules. You're sort of wanting to learn how the rules work as you go along. Perhaps you've got a good friend that plays, you can team up with him. I used to have my friends from school come round and we'd play games at each other's houses and sort of enjoy playing each other there, and just sort of, you just encourage each other in the hobby and stuff, and sort of keeps your interest going. So do that as you go along, as you collect, sort of learning all the time. You never stop learning with this hobby. There's always new things to pick up. So you're sort of wanting to get into the stage where you're kind of familiar with the game, even if you haven't even collected any figures yet. You're just sort of borrowing people's stuff, or you're sort of joining in on games just to get familiar with it. There's no harm in doing that to start off with. And then as you're getting familiar and you're kind of making up your mind where you want to go, what you want to start with, then the next step, I suppose there's two routes you can go down. Games Workshop do like a starter set, the old Dark Vengeance starter set, which is actually really good. You've got two small armies in there, and all the rules and things all contained in one box set. That's a good way to start, a good introduction to the game. I think the mistake that people make sometimes, as I said before, they buy a whole load of stuff and then get swamped and they give up. And I think it's best just to start in small stages, just to be patient as you start the hobby. And that set that Games Workshop do is really good. The Black Reach, that's the old Black Reach, or the new Dark Vengeance, and I'm sure they're going to be releasing another new one as the new rules edition comes out. So you can start there. I've never done that actually. I've always just gone straight into armies, but for those starting in the hobby, that set's good. I mean, you get the small rule book in there, which is really handy. That's the rule book that I use as well. Then the other route that you can go down is just to get the codex of whatever faction you want to choose. Say for example you really want to collect Eldar, so you buy the Eldar codex, and then taking your time, just read that through. As you learn the rules, you'll soon begin to understand what units are good, and you're looking really to choose units that, again, just like you chose the army because you liked it, choose units that you like. You'll get more enjoyment that way. If there's always going to be units in a codex that you just really like the look of, and I think you can pretty much make any unit work well for you. So start with a few core units that you really like the look of. You think, if I'm going to collect this army, these are the ones that I definitely want to be in it. So, you know, for Eldar, for me, I definitely want Striking Scorpions, so I'd have a unit of those. And then if there's troops you really like, Dire Avengers, then choose them, and then start there. And I would say, as a guideline, just aim to collect 500 points. 500 points is a good starting point. That lets you have an HQ choice, pretty good one, a couple of troops, and then something else on top of that. And you can have some great fun games at 500 points. It's a bit of a myth that, you know, bigger is always better. You can really enjoy yourself just with a small force to start off with. A good way to play is to team up with some friends. You can have 2 players each side, each with 500 points, and you've got a small little force to control, and you can really pick up the rules fast. Because if you're swamped with all of these rules straight away, it can really put you off. But if you gradually introduce yourself in, you know, learn the basics with just a small number of units, then that'll be a lot better for you, and it'll be a lot more fun as you go along. And it also gives you a smaller target to aim for as you're painting. You know, 500 point army shouldn't take you too long, and try and aim to get it finished, and then just sort of expand your force from there. I would heavily advise against buying an entire army straight away. You can be overwhelmed with so much to do, and then it never gets finished, and then the project's abandoned. It's better just to start off with a codex, a couple of units, discipline yourself to paint them, and then you'll find it a lot more rewarding. So that's another key point there, and that is, if you're going to enjoy the hobby, I'd encourage you to get into the habit of buying something and then painting it, basing it, and then completely finishing the unit, and then getting something else. And you can watch your collection grow, and you'll enjoy it a lot more if you have those units painted and use them in games. It may take you a bit longer, but you'll get the satisfaction of producing a painted army. I mean, I know people, they buy an entire force, they build the entire force, they never get around to painting it, and then they end up selling the whole thing because they got fed up with it and bored of it, because they've been, you know, too impatient to actually get the stuff painted and done. So I'd say a patient build-up is the best way to go, and just enjoy the small games as you start off, and then ease into the bigger stuff. So to summarize this video about where to start with Warhammer 40,000, first point, choose an army that you like. It's really important that you put your enjoyment as the main priority, and choosing an army that you like the look of and you think really suits your style is very important. And then number 2, don't get swamped by a load of stuff. Just get the basics, whatever codex, rulebook, you know, dice, templates. Just start yourself off small. And then number 3, join in, find somewhere to play, and find other people that are already in the game, and then they'll soon show you how to play, and you can play and learn at the same time. Then number 4, I would say it's good to get either a starter set, like the Dark Vengeance set that Games Workshop do, or go straight into the codex of your chosen faction. And then take your time, and then choose your core units from there. Then number 5, start small and build up your force. I'd heavily advise against going out and buying a whole load of stuff. Just start small, and you can enjoy it as you gradually build up your force. And then finally, number 6, finish what you start. It's a good habit to get into right from the very beginning of getting into this hobby. It's to buy a unit, construct it, paint it, base it, and finish it, and then watch your force grow and finish each project as you go along, and you'll find it rewarding if you go about it that way. But those are the basic pointers that I give you, and I think if you follow those, then you'll have an enjoyable experience as you get into the Warhammer 40,000 universe. So thanks for watching, and look out for more videos in the future.